To all my marketers out there, you're probably spread real thin right now. I'm sure you need some help between creating content, launching campaigns, generating leads, scoring leads, nurturing leads, and a lot more stuff with leads. You barely have a moment to breathe, let alone do your best marketing. But that's where HubSpot and Breeze, its new built-in AI, come in. When you combine the power of Marketing Hub and Content Hub, you can have your best quarter, every single time. With tools that instantly remix your content, lead scoring to shine a light on potential customers, and AI-curated analytics suite for reports and KPIs. And that's all alongside co-pilots and agents to automate all of your tasks, making your life easier, getting you the results faster, and better connecting you to all your data all in one place. Doesn't that sound nice? So stop spreading yourself so thin and start making major moves with HubSpot. You can visit HubSpot.com/marketers to learn more. Good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, February 12th. I'm John Weigell here with Mark Dent, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Netflix is really good at turning the media industry on its head. It's done it with TV, comedy specials, and it's trying it with gaming, and the next frontier might be video podcasts. YouTube has been incredibly dominant in that space historically, with over 400 million hours watched of it in 2024. So what's Netflix's plan, and how will they gain some market share there? We'll get to all that, but first, let's give you the news in business and tech. First up here, even sports can't really escape AI startups lately. Scoreplay is a company that creates AI-generated clips for sports teams, and it just secured $13 million in Series A funding. 200 sports organizations around the world today already use Scoreplay for video clips, and the company said it's already profitable at $20 million total funds raised. From there, we go to the market. It's the stock that will never stop memeing. GameStop stock once again surged, this time 8% so far this week, all on speculation that the company might invest in Bitcoin. GameStop CEO Ryan Cohen posted a photo of himself with Michael Saylor, co-founder of Strategy and also the largest holder of Bitcoin, thus throwing the market into a flux. What do you think about this, Mark? GameStop just keeps popping up on this pod.
I'm amazed it just took them this long to have this idea, or maybe it's not even an idea. We don't know that they're going to invest in Bitcoin
Right.
or anything yet. But it's let's see, you combine GameStop and you combine crypto, the internet's two favorite things. And yeah, of course you're going to get something like this. They just need to somehow throw in AMC, I guess.
Yeah.
Just add that partnership and bam.
Yeah, exactly. And this is all just taken off just a photo, not even a caption photo,
Right.
happy to invest in Bitcoin, just a guy. And it just so happens the GameStop stock goes up 8%. Doesn't take much anymore, I guess.
No, it doesn't. But you definitely have to time it right, though. That's for sure. And that's the hard part.
That's right. Next, we go over to a feud that is boiling over, quite literally. A group of investors with Elon Musk at the helm put in an offer to buy OpenAI for $97.4 billion. Sam Altman came out saying plainly that OpenAI is, quote, not for sale. Altman said in a post on X also that, no thank you, quote, we will buy Twitter for $9.74 billion if you want. And Mark, I understand there are more layers to the feud that unfolded today.
Yeah, so Sam Altman was on Bloomberg TV doing an interview earlier today, and he said some things about Elon, to put it mildly. He said Elon's, quote, whole life is from a position of insecurity. He also said, quote, I don't think he's a happy person, and he, more or less said he felt bad for him. So these are things that will probably not make Elon Musk happy. They might even increase his resolve to want to buy OpenAI. I think the question of whether he and this group of investors can buy it, I think it's going to be difficult for them to do it. But a lot of people thought when Musk was going to buy Twitter and had at first, I think, bought a small share of it, they're nobody took that seriously either. And so I think this is something that has to be taken seriously.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like Sam Altman is not really interested to play ball with this offer, but who knows? For the right amount, almost $100 billion, it's kind of hard to scoff at. So we'll see how this develops over time. And we'll see also if there are any more jabs exchanged both ways, which there probably will be.
Oh, I would assume. And, just seeing that OpenAI with this unsolicited bid to buy it for $97 billion, It just takes me back to Twitter again. That was like, what, 40 billion?
Yeah, it was an exorbitant amount.
Yeah, Musk has gotten a lot of exposure from that probably makes it worth it or close to it. But I'm like, man, how was Twitter worth about half as much as OpenAI if OpenAI might indeed change technology forever?
Yeah, just throwing money every which way, hoping something will stick, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. From there, we go to Valentine's Day, which is coming up Friday. Valentine's Day chocolates this year could cost 10 to 20% more than they did last year, with the price of cocoa hitting a record high of $12.6 thousand in December, more than double since the beginning of 2024. And finally, speaking of some romance, Taco Bell wants to help you say I do in the weirdest way, very on brand for them. The company launched a Las Vegas wedding package for $777 that includes, of course, catered Taco Bell for up to 25 guests, matrimonial swag, and of course, a bouquet made of sauce packets. Everybody likes it hot. Hey, everybody. I've been listening to this awesome podcast lately. It's called Nudge, hosted by Phil Agnew. It's brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. So have you ever noticed how the smallest changes can have the biggest impact? On Nudge, you learn simple, evidence-based tips to help you kick bad habits, get that raise, and grow a business. Every bite-sized 20-minute show comes packed with practical advice from admired entrepreneurs and behavioral scientists alike. And Nudge is fast-paced, but still insightful with real-world examples that you can actually apply. Oh, and by the way, it's the UK's fastest-growing business podcast. I was listening to an episode recently that Phil, the host, had on Harvard professor Mike Norton, and Mike convinced Phil that he had to handwrite every single one of his emails before sending them to understand what he was really trying to talk about. This process, although it sounds insane, he claims, Phil, that it made his emails 3.5 times better. You got to listen to this podcast. It's a great way to understand how email marketing can help your business. You can listen to Nudge wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, on to the main story today. Netflix is due for another industry disruption, it seems, and it looks like this one might come at the expense of YouTube and Spotify. So, Mark, is Netflix out here trying to take over video podcasts?
It seems that way. According to Business Insider, which had a good scoop here on Tuesday, like Netflix is starting to pursue podcast content creators to give them exclusive deals to be on Netflix. Supposedly, Netflix tried to get Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy, or at least looked into it before she went ahead and signed a deal with SiriusXM to be the exclusive home for her podcast. I think that this just shows that Netflix, what they've done over the last few years is they've won the streaming wars. The streaming wars are over. They might have been over even a year or two ago, but they certainly were a few weeks ago when Netflix was like, we're just going to raise our prices, even though we're still adding people and we're doing great. It's just because we know we're so dominant. We're going to raise our prices. So that's their way of getting more revenue. But at the end of the day, like that battle is won. So now they have to go and find a new one. And I think that battle is podcasts, which are increasingly being watched instead of just listened to.
Yeah, 100%. And to tout their victory even more, not only did they win in on-demand streaming, but they also win in live sports. They also win in the amount of Paul brothers boxing fights. They win in so many categories right now, and they're just doing so well. They're even getting into gaming, which is going quite well. It might be better than Apple gaming right now, but they're really spreading themselves into all these departments and knocking it out of the park in pretty much all of them. So I don't doubt that video podcast is on the horizon sometime soon. They're kind of no strangers to picking up people from YouTube and putting them on the Netflix platform. We saw what happened with Miss Rachel maybe about a month ago, and her show is out right now. So they're really warming up to the idea, it seems like, and they really want to take that market share away from YouTube, which is, of course, the giant in the space, which, last month we talked about Spotify wanting to take the market share from YouTube, and, that hasn't really panned out yet.
No,
so we'll see if Netflix can actually get in there.
Yeah, I think that's the potential cautionary story here, is that Spotify kind of made their move into podcasting a few years ago. I can't remember quite when they signed Joe Rogan, but it was around the pandemic, 2020, 21 maybe. And they also signed some other big names. They had like Gimlet Media there for a while, but they invested $1 billion. And I don't think anyone could call it a failure necessarily, but they had huge layoffs, not terribly long ago in their department that's related to podcasting. The reason why they wanted to go after podcasting is that it's cheaper. They don't have to pay royalties the same way they do for music. It's like you pay an upfront fee, or someone else whose podcast is on there who's not like a big deal, they get some sort of cut of the ads if there even are ads, right?
Right.
And so it just makes a lot of sense. But YouTube, at the end of the day, it's always been more of a grassrootsy, creator-friendly type of platform. And I think that has also led to the audience gravitating there. And yeah, and again, I don't watch podcasts and I don't get it, but I know that people do. And so YouTube makes sense to watch them. Netflix could maybe be different than Spotify because it has been a kingmaker before.
Sure.
Like it turned Suits from just an also-ran cable TV program into a huge hit.
Yeah.
It did the same for You with Penn Badgley.
Yep.
So in a unique way, it has the ability to make people watch things they never would have otherwise. And I think they could potentially do that for podcasts.
Yeah, they could. And you make a great point about the cost of podcasts as well. And that seems to be another thing that this Business Insider article brings up, is that it is a lot cheaper to create a video podcast than it is to create any of the content on Netflix, even reality TV, right? Like you need a crew, you need days of production, you need all those things. With a video podcast, these people are making them pretty cheaply with like a few cameras, a few guys in a room, and then call it a day. So Netflix is kind of salivating at that concept as well, to be able to create this long form hour per day content at a very, very cheap rate, especially because they just go on forever. It's like a never ending cycle, right? Rarely does a video podcast take a long break or take like a year off or something.
Yeah. And they can make ad revenue off of podcasts as well. With podcasts, you could have people being drawn to the platform and paying their $20 a month or whatever. And also then there's ads, and Netflix can make more money off of that. So it's cheap and it's new revenue streams for them.
Definitely. And this has been happening on a few other platforms. They've been experimenting. Like Netflix even had some comedy-centric shows on it, more like talk show-esque. So we're kind of veering into like the podcast is becoming more of like what the late night used to be.
Yeah.
You have like ESPN with Pat McAfee on now, and you have Hot Ones on Hulu now. So this is not a new concept, but Netflix seems to want to really get into it and champion it. And I think they will, given a few years, even though a lot of the big podcasters have been like sopped up by these other platforms like Sirius and Spotify. I'm sure something's got to give, and there's people out there.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, that there have been a lot of deals made just in the last couple of years. So Netflix might be a little bit behind the game in that regard, but they are Netflix. They're bigger than Spotify. They're huge. I guess the one thing that I'd say that could be going against them is also that, I mentioned that Netflix has kind of won this streaming war. They beat like Hulu, and obviously Disney is huge. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But YouTube is owned by Alphabet. That's another beast. Alphabet is humongous.
Right.
And it's going to be a tougher fight, I think, than Netflix realizes, even though the potential is certainly there.
For sure. You have to wonder if this will push YouTube/Google/Alphabet as well to pay its creators or for exclusivity rights, because I know that's a thing that's happened before with live streamers, but I'm not sure how prevalent it's been with video podcasts on YouTube. So that might be a thing they'll have to look into in the near future.
It's going to be a good few years to have like a extremely well listened to and well watched podcast. I think there's going to be some good bidding for those types of shows.
Yeah, exactly. Bidding wars to come. All right, and that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor is Robert Hartwig. Our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a ton more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. Go sign up at thehustle.co/email and follow us on Instagram at Hustle Daily. We will see you tomorrow.
New year, new resolutions. And this year on the Best Idea Yet podcast, we're revealing the untold origin stories of the products you're obsessed with. And we promise you have never heard these before.
Ever wonder how the iconic Reese's Peanut Butter Cup was invented? Because it was by accident. H.B. Reese, a former frog salesman,
True story,
stumbled upon the idea after accidentally burning a batch of peanuts.
Classic.
Proving that sometimes our best ideas arise from what seem like our biggest mistakes.
And Jack, did you know there's a scientific explanation why humans crave that surprising combo of peanut butter and chocolate?
I didn't, but it sounds delicious.
It is delicious.
So, if you're looking to get inspired and creative this year, tune in to the Best Idea Yet. You can find us on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts.
And if you're looking for more podcasts to help you start this year off right, check out New Year, New Mindset on the Wondery app. Who knows? Your next great idea could be an accident that you burned. This is Nick.
And this is Jack.
And we'll see you on the best idea yet.